Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this video we are going to discuss about the closed loop converter fed DC motor drive. So here you can see a block diagram for the speed control of a DC motor. So here is a DC motor or the model of the DC motor. This is the load torque that you can consider as an external disturbance for the DC motor model. Here is the power electronic converter that is used to adjust the voltage at the machine terminals. We have discussed about this converter in the last video and how we can develop the transfer function of this power electronic converter. This converter gets information of the control variable, that is either alpha or the duty cycle D, in terms of this control voltage, and applies the corresponding voltage at the machine terminals. Here you can see a speed controller which decides what should be the control voltage to minimize the error at this point. That is the error between the actual speed and the command speed. So actual speed is measured with the help of the speed sensor, that may be the tacho generator or some other system. So this is representing the speed measurement. It is taking the speed signal and giving you some voltages corresponding to the actual speed, and that voltage is compared with the reference voltage. This reference voltage is basically representing the reference speed. So this speed sensing is basically giving you the speed information in terms of voltage. And for the sake of example, we can say, let's suppose that our sensor gives 15 volt output when there is the 1500 RPM, and it gives 10 volt when there is the 1000 RPM. It means there will be 1 volt variation for the variation of the 100 RPM. So the voltage output from this speed sensor is basically the mapping from the speed from this point to the voltage over here. The information of the speed is translated in terms of voltage, and then it is compared with the reference voltage. If you want to, let's suppose, adjust the 1200 RPM at the output, so you will have to set 12 volt over here, because all the control part is in terms of control voltage. So you will be mapping all the information in terms of control voltage. Okay, now let's see that how we can implement this control loop, or how we can design this speed controller for the speed control of your DC motor. So before going toward that one, let's discuss about the DC motor model. So here you can see the block diagram of a separately excited DC motor. Here is the field circuit, and here is the armature circuit. The load is connected with the shaft of your machine, right? This DC motor gets input power from this converter circuit, and let's suppose that the gain of this converter is K2, and we are assuming that this is the linear circuit. That is, the output voltage is linearly related with the control voltage VR. Right, so this is representing the control voltage. Whenever you are going to change this control voltage, the power flow from here towards your machine will change. And how it is going to change? It is going to change the voltage at the machine terminals. The back EMF of your machine, it depends upon two things. First of all, it is proportional to the rate of change of flux, because the rate at which this flux is changing over here that will decide what is the induced EMF. So induced EMF is d phi by dt, and this, the rate of change of flux is important, and that depends upon the speed. If your speed is increasing, it means you have more rate of change of flux through the armature and more induced EMF will be there. So E is directly proportional to the speed. And second thing that controls the induced EMF is the magnitude of the flux. And magnitude of the flux depends upon the current in this field winding. So we can write it like that it is proportional to IF. So if this IF is kept constant, then the induced EMF depends upon the speed, right? So we can say that Eg is equal to some constant kV into IF into speed. So that you can see in this equation. And if you are going to keep the field current constant, then you can say the product of these two constants is another constant Kb. So you can represent your back EMF or the EMF generated in the armature circuit by this equation. Eg is equal to Kb into omega. And if you take the Laplace transform, so you can represent this equation like this. The armature voltage equation can be written like this, that your applied voltage VA must be equal to the voltage across the resistance, voltage across the inductor, and the back EMF. So in steady state this term will be 0, but whenever you are going to change the speed and if the current in your machine is changing, then this term will play an important role. Okay, now taking the value of Eg, we can write down this equation like this, that Va is equal to Ia plus La dia by dt plus Kv into If into omega. So if you take the Laplace transform of this equation, you can write down this equation with the zero initial conditions, and rearranging this equation you can have this. Okay, then we can write down the equation for the torque. The torque depends upon the current in the armature circuit and the current in the field circuit, because basically it depends upon the cross product of the two magnetic fields, and the magnetic field of the armature depends upon current and the magnetic field of your field depends upon the field current. So we can say that the torque depends upon the magnitude of these two. Basically it's the cross product of the field magnetic field and the armature magnetic field. But it can be represented like that, that induced torque or the developed torque is proportional to Ia and the developed torque is proportional to If. So combining these two, we can write it like that. So if your If is kept constant, so we can consider it as a constant, and the induced torque will be equal to Kb into Ia. And finally the mechanical equation, that is developed torque must be equal to this one. This is the torque because of the inertia of your machine, J, and then the torque because of the friction, that is B into omega, plus the load torque that is connected with your machine. So this is because of the inertia of your machine, this is because of the friction, this is basically the load torque that is externally applied. So your developed torque must be equal to all of these torque. If your developed torque is equal to that one, then your machine will be may run at the constant speed. If your developed torque is less and demand is high, means load torque is high, frictional torque and machine inertia torque, the sum of these one is higher than the developed torque, it means developed torque is less than all of these, so then there will be the deaccelerating effect. And if your developed torque is more than this one, is greater than this term, then your machine will be accelerating. In equilibrium state, it must be equal. So now if we take the Laplace transform of these two equations, so we can write it like this, and from this differential equation we can write this expression, and rearranging we can write it like this. So now using these equations, those we have seen, by taking the Laplace transformation of this equation, you can develop the control diagram for your DC motor. So here you can see this is the applied voltage VA minus EGS, that is coming from here, this is EGS, and the difference of these two is passed through the transfer function, that is 1 over R plus SLA, that is this one. When you will perform that one, you will get IA, and then if you multiply it with KB, so you will be getting the developed torque. From this developed torque, this expression that we have obtained from this equation, if we rearrange, we can write down this equation. So from this developed torque, you are going to subtract the load torque, and then you are going to subject that difference to this transfer function 1 over B1 plus Sj. So what is this B1? This is B1 is the friction coefficient of the motor, right? So in order to differentiate from the load friction, I have written it at B1. Let's suppose that the load torque is given like this, that TL is equal to BL into omega, where BL is the friction constant of your load, and in S domain we can write it like dash TLS, that is equal to B into L into omega S. So this is in the S domain, so taking this one and multiplying it with BL, you will be getting the load torque. So we are going to model the load with the help of this equation. Okay, so now this Vm into KB, from here you can say that we are going to feed it back, and this is basically Eg. So here we have Va minus Vg, that is passed through this one, and so on. So you can represent your machine with the help of this control diagram, right? Okay, now let's talk about the closed loop current control. So we have seen about the block diagram of your DC motor, and inside your machine you have the feedback of the speed through this term KB, that is basically the back EMF. So that is shown over here. Now let's suppose that we want to control the current. So here with this you can see the phase control converter, the power electronic converter, and we have seen its transfer function in the last video. It can be written as KR1 by STR, where TR is the delay because of this converter. So this will be requiring the information in terms of the control voltage. So this firing angle alpha is given in terms of the control voltage. Now this control voltage is basically decided by this current controller, and that is the PI controller in this case. So the reference of the current is specified, and to compare it with the actual current, you will have to measure the current that is being injected into your armature from your converter circuit, from this one. So you are going to take the current feedback from here, and this is representing the current sensor, the gain of the current sensor. The current sensor response is quite high, so its delay is usually neglected. So it is just modeled by the constant gain. So from here we will be getting the actual current of your armature, and that will be compared with the command current. So we will be having the current error over here, that will be processed by your current controller and it will be deciding about a control voltage that will be translated in terms of the required firing angle, and that firing angle will decide what is the voltage at the machine terminal such that it is giving you such a current in the armature winding that is equal to this command current. Okay, so we have talked about the motor control loop in the previous slide, and that is given by this control diagram. So now we need to have the current feedback. So what we are going to do, we are going to simplify it and we are going to move this node to this position from here to here. So when you are moving this node back, so you will have to accommodate the effect of this feedback loop and this gain along with this if we are moving this point to this location. So first of all, if you talk about the equivalent of this one, so the equivalent of this can be written as 1 over B1 plus BL plus Sj. It's a feedback, negative feedback loop that you can observe over here. Negative feedback. So its equivalent is given by this transfer function. So this transfer function will be there. Along with that we have KB. If you want to move this one to this position, so KB will be multiplied with this. So this can be written like that, KB divided by B1 plus BL plus Sj, and that will be multiplied with this one. So here you can see KB square divided by B1 plus BL plus Sj. So we can move this connection from here to here, and we will have to accommodate the effect of all of that, and that is this one. So that we have accommodated over here, KB into KB divided by B1 plus BL plus Sj, so that is equal to KB square by that one. So let's assume that B1 plus BL is equal to the total frictional constant Bt. So now we are going to represent this diagram like this. In this you can see we have just replaced this one with the Bt. So you can represent your machine with this control diagram. So from here you have the translation from voltage to the current, and then current is translated or related with the speed with the help of this transfer function. So now we have the feedback loop. Here you can see. So we can solve this and we can represent it with the simple transfer function. So G over 1 plus GH will be the closed loop transfer function. So using this you can write it like that. This is G and this is the product of G and H. So if you simplify, you will get this transfer function. So this G1S is basically representing this current feedback loop, right? Okay, now let's simplify this current feedback loop. So first of all, taking this transfer function, in this we are going to take this Bt common out. So if you take Bt common out, we can write it like that, 1 plus S into J by Bt. So this J by Bt is the time constant of your mechanical system, mechanical part of your machine. The machine inertia constant divided by the frictional constant, and this is Bt, so that is equal to B1, the motor friction plus the load friction. So we can write it like this. Okay, now if you do the multiplication and simplify over here, so you can write it like that, and rearranging in the standard form you can write it like that. So now if I take this KB square plus RA plus BT common out, so this term will be modified like that, LAJ divided by this term. Similarly, this will be divided by this term, and when we will be dividing it by KB square plus RABT, you will be getting 1. So we can represent this equation like this. And now let's find out the roots of this quadratic equation. Here you can see the S square term, S term and the constant term. So you can use the quadratic formula, minus b plus minus under root b square minus 4ac whole divided by 2a. So if in this you are going to use these values, this is a, this one is b, and the c is equal to 1. So use these values in this expression. So you can write like this. So solving this, you will get the roots, and those will be basically the poles of your current loop. Only this part of the loop, this one. We are talking about this one. Okay, so simplifying this one, you will get this equation for the roots of this particular quadratic equation. Okay, now we are looking for this part of the loop, sorry, this one. So for that, the roots are these one. The closed loop poles are obtained from this equation. Okay, now in generic form, if I say that as we have the two poles, so if I write them like this, 1 plus st1 into 1 plus st2, so the roots will be, s will be equal to minus 1 by t1. Let's suppose these are the roots, and the second root is minus 1 by t2. So from these we can write it like that, and that will be equivalent to this equation, this one. And we have already seen that Tm was equal to J over Bt. So we will be representing this quadratic equation now like this. And what are T1 and T2s? That can be obtained with the help of this one. This is basically the root that we have just seen above over here. Two roots given by this equation. So the root 1 is equal to minus 1 by T1, and the second root is minus 1 by T2. So from here we can write down this equation equivalent to this one. And let's suppose that this Bt divided by this one is K1. So we can write down this transfer function like this, where Tm is the time constant of the mechanical part, and T1 and T2 are the two time constants which depends upon the electrical parameters, electrical circuit parameters, the resistance, the inductance, and the mechanical parameters, the inertia and the frictional constants. Right? So that you can see over here. The roots depends upon Ra, La, Bt and J. These are the four parameters on which the roots depends. And these roots are basically defining these T1 and T2. So these two time constants depends upon electrical and the mechanical parameters. However, this Tm is purely the mechanical time constant. Right? So we were discussing about this loop, and in this loop we have represented this portion, that is relating voltage and currents, and we have represented it with this transfer function. So now replacing this loop with this its transfer function, where K1 is the gain and T1, T2 and Tm are the time constants. So once you get Ia, then you can use this transfer function, this part Kb divided by Bt plus Sj, that will translate this current in terms of speed. So you can say it's a transfer function from speed to the current, that is given by this equation. Right? And if we take Bt common from here, so I can write it Bt into 1 plus Sj by Bt. So what is this J by Bt? That is equal to Tm, mechanical time constant. Right? So we can write it like this, 1 plus Stm, and this Bt is over here. So we can further simplify this loop, this transfer function, and we can write it like this. So we have obtained two transfer functions. One is relating the current with the voltage, that is given by this equation, and we have seen what is K1, what is Tm, what is T1 and T2. And the second transfer function that relates speed with the current, that is given by this equation. So Tm is given by this one, and the Bt is defined as B1 plus BL, and the TL is equal to BL into omega m. Okay, now let's look back at the control diagram that we were discussing. So in this, now we have moved this point outside, and we are representing the control loop with the help of this portion. So VA, from VA, the motor voltage, to the current, we have this transfer function that we have just discussed above. Along with that, we have the converter, power electronic converter. The transfer function is KR over 1 plus STR. And we have the current controller, usually the PI1. And this is the current sensor gain. So this is the current loop. So once the current is decided, then we have the transfer function Vm by Ia. From here we are going to get Vm, and this is representing the speed sensor and speed information. Basically it is in terms of voltage, right? Some voltage representing the actual speed and some voltage representing the reference speed. The speed error is evaluated, speed controller, the PI controller, the limiter, that is limiting the current within the range. It should not be above the rated values. So the current will be bounded in between. The reference current will be given to this loop, and this loop will adjust that current with the help of the current controller. Current controller will decide about the control voltage, and that control voltage will be realized in terms of the actual voltage at the machine terminal. So over here, the converter transfer function is given by this equation, and the current controller and the speed controller, they are given by these equations. These are simply the PI controllers. Okay, so now let's look at the current loop with the transfer function of the converter and the current controller. So here you can see your current controller is replaced with this one, and converter is replaced by its transfer function, and this is the transfer function relating your voltage with the current of your machine. So if you look at the open loop transfer function, that will be given by this equation, and this is the fourth order transfer function, because here you can see as there are 4 poles. So we can simplify this one, and we can approximate this current loop with the help of the second order equation. How? We know that your system mechanically is quite slow as compared to your electrical system. In the case of electrical, the time constant is usually in the range of milliseconds, and for that it is in the range of seconds. I'm talking about the DC motor drives, particularly motor drives. So we can approximate that this 1 plus STM is nearly equal to STM. We can ignore this one because this TM is representing the mechanical part of your motor, and it is in the order of seconds, and it is in the vicinity of your gain crossover as well. So we can apply this approximation, and with the help of that, what you will get when you are going to represent this part as an STM, so this S and this SM will be cancelled out, and we are going to make this TM as the part of this one. So your gain term will be modified. Here you can see the TM, and the order will be reduced by 1 because S and S will be cancelled out. Okay, now the next approximation that we can make, that is this TR. Just look at this TR. This is time constant of the rectifier or the converter that you are using in your drive, and how we get that one? This is basically the total switching cycle divided by 2 if it is the DC to DC converter, and usually it is in the order of milliseconds. So it is very small because it depends upon purely the power electronic switches. However, this T1 and T2 depends upon RA, LA, motor inertia and the frictional constant. So T1 and T2 are higher than TR. TR is smaller than T1 and T2. So in this, if we select this controller, the 0 because of this controller, in such a way that it cancels one of the poles, slower poles from here, so we can reduce the order. And let's suppose that this TC is set equal to T2, so these two terms will be cancelled out and we will be left with this term and this term. So with this approximation, that you are going to place the 0 of your controller such that it is going to cancel this one. So you can write down this expression like this. So this is the gain, the open loop gain, and now you have the two poles of this open loop. So let's suppose that this term is represented as K. So we can write down this expression like this. So now if we look at the characteristic equation considering the closed loop, so we can write it like that: 1 plus gs into h of s, that is equal to 0. So 1 plus this term will be equal to 0, and then simplifying this one, we can write down this equation. And if we multiply, we will get this equation, and rearranging it in the standard second order equation, that is this one, so we will get this equation. So by comparison, we can find out the natural frequency and the damping of this system. So the natural frequency will be obtained by the comparison of these two. So omega n square is equal to 1 plus k divided by T1 TR. So from here we can say omega n is given by this equation. And then if we compare this one with this 2 zeta omega n, so we get this equation. So if we rearrange it for zeta, we can write it like this, that zeta is equal to T1 plus TR divided by T1 TR, and this whole divided by this part. So now if we select the parameters T1 and TR in such a way that your zeta is set equal to 1 by under root 2, that is the 0.707, so then you will not be observing any overshoot, critically damped system. So if we select zeta is equal to 0.707, so from this equation we can write like this, that 1 by 2, we are going to replace it 1 by under root 2, multiplying with this term, that will be equal to this part. So solving this, we can write it in terms of this expression. Okay, where k, what is this k? K is given by this equation. We have already seen this one. So from there I am writing this one. This is k. Now if the gain k is quite high as compared to 1, and your T1 is definitely higher than TR, because TR is purely based upon the power electronic switches and their response, the control of your power electronic converters, and your T1 is the function of mechanical as well as the electrical parameter of your motor. So T1 is quite large as compared to TR. So with these two approximations, we can write this one like this. So T1 plus TR can be considered approximately equal to T1 if TR is quite small as compared to T1. So using this approximation, we can write it like that, and the K will be given by this equation. So now we have the approximation of K by this expression, and we have the K from this expression as well. So by comparing these two, we can write down this expression. This is from here and this is from here. So from here now we can work out for the Kc, that is the controller, current controller gain. So that we can write like this. So now let's conclude this video. What we have learned, we have discussed about the current control loop, for the DC motor drives, and we have seen that how we can represent, how we can develop the transfer function from voltage to the current, and then from current to the speed, and then we can simplify, how we can simplify the current control loop. So first thing that we developed this one, then we included the converter transfer function, the PI controller, PI current controller, and then we have simplified this one, and we have seen that how we can select this controller gain. So in the next video we will continue and we will see that how we can design the speed controller, or how we can approximate this current loop with the first order transfer function. In this we have approximated the current loop with the second order transfer function, as you can see over here, right? So finally we developed a second order transfer function with the approximation. What is that approximation? That your Tm is quite large. That's the time constant of your mechanical system, and Tr is quite small as compared to your T1 and T2. And if you select this Tc equal to T2, right, so in that case you can represent it with the second order system, because these two will be cancelled out. So we have approximated it with the second order transfer function. In the next video we will see that how we can further approximate it with the first order system, and how we can model the voltage loop for your DC motor drives. That's all from this video. Thank you very much.